today's video, I want to give a special thanks to Bobby Rahal Mercedes for providing the C63 in today's video. If you're in the market, definitely check them out. I'll leave all their contact information along with their website and inventory in the description below. Next to me, we have the 2019 Mercedes AMG C63s Coupe. And for anyone that follows my channel at all, you know that I have a long and intimate history with the AMG C63. So for 2019, the C63 actually got a facelift. Front and rear and the exterior, also a big improvement for the interior. So we're basically going to talk about where AMG took a few steps forward with the 2019 version of the C63, and also where they took a couple steps backward. Now, while it's gotten some exterior improvements, nothing drastic has changed. The C63 in its coupe format is still the same gorgeous car that it was for 2017 and 2018. And in my biased opinion here, I guess, it looks best in black. Now, while there is new wheel options for 2019, our tester has the black forged wheels, which matches very well with the black exterior color. So we have 20s in the rear, 19s up front, 285/30 Pilot Super Sport tires in the rear, and 255/35/19 up front. Now, as we get to the rear end of the C63, huge upgrade with the new rear diffuser. It looks so much better than the 17 and 18 models. We also actually have slightly different looking exhaust tips. Now, I think it's pretty much only a trained AMG eye that would see that, but it's just a slight difference in the shape of the dual quad tip exhaust tips. Which then brings us to the front end of the car. This took a lot of getting used to for me when I first saw the pictures of the new front end here with the Panamericana grille, but I have to say I've learned to really like it. I think it looks great, although the previous grille looks still slightly better, but that's just my opinion, of course. Beauty, as we all know, is in the eye of the beholder. And as we get to the headlights, they are new. These are the intelligent LED headlights. And for 2018, we had two main projectors, just like this one here, one on each side, of course. Now we have a main projector and then two smaller ones right here. So definitely a different look, although the LED daytime running light strip is the same, which is great because it gives the front end of the car a very, very aggressive look when they are on. But of course, the most important thing and what makes an AMG is the power plant. For 2019, gladly, nothing has changed, at least not for the worse. This car comes in two versions for the 63 lineup. That is the regular C63 with 469 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. The C63s comes with 503 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. You also get dynamic engine mounts with the S model, and they are, of course, both the fabulous 4-liter bi-turbo V8. So, with the quick overview of the exterior upgrades for 2019, we're going to jump inside the car. But before we do that, take a look at the new key. Finally, the C-Class also gets the upgraded Mercedes key. It had the old key up to 2018, which was the same key from, I think, 2002. So yeah, for today's first world observation here, it's nice to have a newer, nicer looking designed key fob. Let's jump inside here. So, as we mentioned earlier, there are a couple nice improvements to the interior of the C63. But for the door panel here, nothing has really changed. We have the classic Mercedes-Benz seat controls on the side here. This one does not come with a ventilated seat option. And then we have our trunk opener here and just window controls and lock and unlock. The original owner of this car did not spec it with the performance seats either, so this one has the comfort seats. Very comfortable, but not as bolstered as the performance seats would be. The room in the back seat is, yeah, it's not really meant for adults, but you can definitely fit back there. So I'm 6'2". Headroom is not very good back here for someone 6'2". And if I'm sitting behind a driver, that's my height. Yeah, I'm pretty squished back here. But I'm pretty sure that if you're watching this video, you're planning on maybe buying one of these, and you'll be sitting up there and never back here. So what we'll do is, of course, transition to the driver's seat. And man, is it nice here. This is a really, really comfortable and sporty place to be. And for 2019, we got some nice improvements. Take a look at this new steering wheel. It looks absolutely phenomenal. Still flat bottom steering wheel, but all these controls here, or the design of the controls, are brand new. So what we're going to do is start her up. So with the new performance steering wheel, you can actually control the boring auto start feature from this button right here, and also the performance exhaust system, which should always be on, meaning the valves are open. And new for this model year is that Mercedes made the performance exhaust system standard, as it should have been from the get-go. You should not be allowed to buy this car, or buy any AMG for that matter, that has a performance exhaust system and not want it. So good on AMG for making the performance exhaust standard. And then on the right side here, we actually have a dynamic select button. So no longer do you just control it from over here. You can scroll this little dial and then change to different driving modes. And by the way, for 2019, we have one new mode, and it's slippery mode. I haven't really looked into this, but we could see right here, suspension is comfort and the exhaust is balanced. So in other words, it's the most boring driving mode ever, and no one should ever use it in an AMG. But then we have individual, where you can set your individual settings for exhaust and suspension and all that. We have comfort, sport, sport plus, and finally race. But take a look at this gorgeous 12-inch instrument cluster that we now have. Now the infotainment screen here is also new for 2019. It is 10.2 inches wide, but we'll stay on here for now. For 2017 and 18, it was a fully analog screen. And now on the steering wheel, you have touch buttons here where you just scroll your thumb like that, and you have your trip meter and all that good stuff, and fuel economy. And one thing we're going to check out here on the infotainment screen is if we go to system, you can actually customize your display and the design of the display. So we go to designs and we go to classic. It changes up the instrument cluster. So you have the tachometer on the right and the speedometer on the left. If we then go to sport, that changes up the look a little bit as well. And then if we go to super sport, big tachometer in the middle and digital speedometer. So this definitely looks very, very nice. Now the infotainment screen is very in-depth in any Mercedes really, so I'm not going to spend tons of time on this. But one new feature for the C63 is that you finally get, I mean, I don't know if you really need it, the 64 different colors in ambient lighting. Previously you only had 3, and they were blue and red, and then also white, I think it was. I mean, it's nice to have all these colors and stuff, but I would still just stick with blue or red. And today is, you know, obviously it's daytime, very bright outside, so you can't really see it, but it lights up the interior in a very nice way. Now the infotainment screen is navigated through either this rotary dial here, or you can use the touchpad. I mean, the graphics are just very, very nice. The backup camera is the best resolution I've ever seen on any backup camera. It is absolutely phenomenal. Now we'll mention one new feature for 2019 before we take the car out on the road here, and that is track pace. This is really, really cool. So basically you have telemetry data here, where you can track all kinds of vehicle data if you're on a track, of course. Speed and lap times and all that good stuff. This was not available for 2017 and 18. But what we all want to know is, of course, how the car drives, and it's phenomenal. just like it was in 17 and 18, if not better. But one thing here, and we mentioned this right in the intro, is where I feel like AMG took a few steps back. And it's kind of sad, actually, and I don't really know why they would do this, but what I'm talking about is the sound. Now, while AMG made the performance exhaust standard, it doesn't sound as much anymore. And some of you out there might be like, well, you talk about the sound way too much. But driving an AMG is not just performance when it comes to speed. It is a combination of speed and also the sound that it makes, and anyone that owns an AMG will agree with me. I know that for a fact. And then they come out with this car, and I would say that half of the sound is gone. Now, does it still sound good? Of course it does. So we currently have the car in race. I have to really push the car to hear any kind of crackles. On the older cars, and I'm talking still W205, not the previous generation, the 204s, they sounded even better because they were naturally aspirated. On the older cars, it would crackle so much when you had it in Sport Plus and Race. Now I have it in Race and you can hardly hear anything. So this is 3,000 RPM. So what they've done is dumb down the ECU tune, which, you know, obviously makes it crackle because all it's doing is really dumping fuel, and it makes that phenomenal crackling sound. We still have it, but it's minuscule, and it's so disappointing. Like, for someone like me who's had a car like this for almost 2 years and, you know, daily drove it, I wouldn't even buy this 2019 just for that reason alone. That might sound petty because the car, except for the sound issue, is so great. There's so many improvements for 2019, but the lack of the sound is just such a disappointment. And I don't know why AMG would do this. Now, besides the crackling, the sound from the interior of the car sounds more like induction sound. On the previous model years, it was a raw sound. It wasn't induction. You heard the engine and you heard the exhaust note. But now it's changed, even from outside of the car. Still the same amazing performance though. It's just the sound is very different. So the C63, I mean, its main competitors are Germans, and it is the BMW M3/M4 and the Audi RS5. And I mean, I'm probably gonna get decapitated for this in the comments, but it almost sounds more interior wise, the induction sound, like an M4. I mean, my God, that's been the C63's strong point this whole time. While the M4 is a great car, I'm not knocking it, or slash M3. The C has been the one with the V8 and the growly sound. I mean, a BMW M3 sounds like absolute garbage. And I'm sorry to my BMW friends, but you guys know, deep down in your heart, even though you might not admit to it, your M3/M4 sounds like absolute shit. Although it drives well, it's probably a better handling car than the C-Class, but it sounds like garbage. And it's so disappointing that the C63 now has taken a step back when it comes to the sound. Yeah, it's just different. I'm not saying it sounds horrible, but it sounds so different. It's subdued, it's dumbed down. And I don't understand why, and it's different. Yeah, my 2018 did not sound like this. And some of you might say, well, you had, you know, catless downpipes on yours. Yeah, I did, but there was a long time where I didn't. And in comparison, stock to stock, my 2018 sounded so much better than this. It's not something that I just feel is different or think is different or seems different. It is different. And I know this because I had a car just like this. It was just 1 year older. It was pre-facelift. And the sound was so much better. But if you're new to AMG, you won't really know what I'm talking about anyhow. And this car is absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't experienced a prior model year C63 coupe, then you know, it's not really going to bother you. So if we leave the subject of sound for a little bit here, we'll talk about the new transmission. It is now a 9-speed transmission versus 7-speed for 2017 and 18. And a difference I can notice, besides, you know, it having 2 more gears, is that it shifts slightly quicker. And that is a positive. The older transmission wasn't slow at all. Now it's even faster. Yeah. However, when you downshift, back to the sound, AMG owners will know what I'm talking about. I'm downshifting from 4th to 3rd. There's no crackles. No crackles. Although it's still as fast and the shifts are quicker, there's no crackles. Where are the crackles? Like, I don't even care about bringing manuals back, bring the crackles back. It's such a big part of this car. Why have they... Come on, man. Downshifts aren't fun anymore. What I'm going to do here is... I'm in 2nd. Okay. So when you just let off the gas pedal, if you're in high RPMs and you let off the gas, you do get a couple pops and crackles. Yeah, but they're so quiet though. Yeah, I guess we have some. But it's just not the same. It's not the same. And while I'm looking at this beautiful instrument cluster, the amazing infotainment screen, the fantastic steering wheel, the comfort, the sportiness, the configuration you can do of this car with the transmission and the suspension, the exhaust, we still don't have the crackles. But again, I don't mean to downplay this car at all. You guys know how much I love the C63, and one cool feature we mentioned earlier is the telemetry system, where the track pace, that is, you can actually measure 0 to 60 and stuff like that now, and we're going to try that out. Alright, so we're coming to a complete stop here, and we're just going to stomp on it. Not the best launch here. We got 5 seconds to 60. Obviously with a proper grip and, you know, launch control and all that good stuff, this car does 0 to 60 in 3.7, and you got to have flat surface as well, which I didn't. So as it now slowly starts to rain, I think it's time we wrap up this review and kind of summarize this car. As I put a lot of weight into the lack of crackles, that again is just my opinion, that it kind of dumbs down the car. It doesn't really have that full experience anymore, but I know there's a lot of people out there that don't really care as much about that, and you guys are blessed, because if you choose to get this car, I can guarantee you get a full experience. And it's an extremely elegant and sporty looking car. It's a Mercedes, so you have the full comfort and all the luxuries that a Mercedes gets, along with top-notch, very, very close to supercar performance in one package. This car is very well spec'd. It is missing, let's say, the performance seats, but it stickers at $88,000, and for the money, there is tremendous value in the C63 AMG, or AMG C63 as it's now called. And it is still the only one in the segment that has a V8. So if you're looking at the BMW and Audi counterparts, they have 6 cylinders with 2 turbos instead of a V8 with 2 turbos like this car here. It gives it more of a muscle car and, can I say, even exotic sound and feel. And with the interior improvements for 2019, it makes it even better. So once again, I want to give a huge thank you to my now friends at Bobby Rahal Mercedes for providing the C63 in today's video. This car is actually for sale. It is used with not even 300 miles on the clock. So you can definitely get a good deal on this car if you're in the market for a C63. Just tell them that I sent you. But on a personal note, to end this video, I miss the C63 coupe. It was great to be in one once again, although, you know, the lack of sound and everything else around the car is just, I mean, it's as close to perfection as you can get. It has everything. In a perfect world, I would want to have the cars I currently have plus the C63. But at the moment, that's not possible for me, but maybe in the future, I'll be able to get into one of these once again. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're stopping by for the first time and you haven't already, and you want to, please subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.